Roads are the backbones of civilization. During the Neolithic era, humans began to settle in secure areas, such as fortifiable hilltops, in small, cohesive groups. As these communities grew larger, they made friendly and hostile connections with neighboring groups. The ensuing relationships between peoples were facilitated by pathways that connected one settlement to the other. The Via Eurasia, or route of roads, follows this evolution, highlighting the material culture that enabled societies to grow and come into contact with one another. The Via Eurasia is a cultural route that gives visitors the opportunity to experience a wide range of the infrastructure that has facilitated overland trade from early prehistory up until just before the dawn of industrialization. Some of the earliest examples of man-made pathways that remain today are pedestrian roads and cart ruts carved into the soft stone of central Anatolia. This region was once part of the ancient Phrygian civilization, home to King Midas and the Gordian knot, historical legends that resonate across Europe because of their role in mythology. The Via Eurasia traces many of these Phrygian paths that remain today. These paths lead walkers past several important examples of Phrygian architecture and stone carving, enriching visitors' experience by immersing them in the deep history of the region. The most ancient surviving roads in southern Turkey were built by the Lycian and Pisidian civilizations. They date from around the same time as those in Phrygia. These roads, constructed of gravel or cut stone blocks, rise and fall over the hills leading up from the Mediterranean. Alongside these roads, we can already find the remnants of the larger transportation infrastructure that was necessary for people to move across large expanses of terrain. Rudimentary millstones were present along these routes, as they would make the transportation of goods, such as wheat and olive oil, much more efficient. Wells and watering basins for pack animals, another integral part of pre-modern road travel, were also preserved. There are examples of distinctive Lycian stone graves interring those who died while away from home. Furthermore, the entrance to Pisidian towns are marked by carvings of the god Apollo, waymarkers that simultaneously functioned as religious symbols and signage for travelers. Roman roads fall into three categories, and the Via Eurasia passes along each of them. The first and largest type are called Via Publicae. Depending on the sources, they may also be called Viae Consulares, Viae Praetoriae, or Viae Militares. These roads were the main arteries of the empire. The Via Eurasia traces three such roads: the Via Militares, that connected Constantinople to the Danube, the Via Egnatia, that goes through the Balkans, and the Via Appia, that runs between Rome and Bari.
Here is two layers of medieval road. One road was repaired by putting a next roadbed on top of the former one. The newest road is with the big slabs, and both roads are made of relatively soft stones that have been cut through by the wheels of the carts that used it. And these are now both visible in the older one and the newer road. And actually we're looking at the porta of the medieval city, which enclosed, it's a semi-enclosed area, so they could control traffic going in and out of the city.
The second category of Roman roads were called Viae Privitae, Viae Rusticae, Viae Glariae, or Viae Agrariae. These are roads that were built by wealthy families or individuals who wanted to connect their vast estates and settlements to the main roads. Although the roads were privately funded, they were open for public use. The Via Eurasia features examples of such roads in northern Anatolia around the ancient cities of Nicaea and Prusa. The smallest category of Roman roads were the Via Vicinales, rural public roads that connected villages to the main roads. These were maintained by the regional magistrates. The Via Eurasia features Via Vicinales in parts of central southern Anatolia.
This is a classic Roman road climbing a hill in zigzags over very broken but mainly native bare rock. It was about 2 meters wide from here to here. And when you get rid of those bushes, you'll find that there's a straight edge along the inside, and along the outside a curb made out of big boulders or of natural rock. And the space in between was the route in which the people could walk. In places it runs over bare rock, in places it's filled with cobbles, and in places it has steps like these, which will help the user to use the route and also for the water to run off in the winter. So this is typical of the roads in this area, and it's not a main road, but it's not a minor road either. Normally this road would have wells on it about every 1 to 2 hours walk, because you need to drink when you walk, and also your animals need, more important, your animals need to drink when they walk. And it's normally the type of road found between two medium-sized Roman or Lycian sites. Now, at one time, when animals were using this road regularly, of course it would fill up with a mixture of animal shit and leaves, and so it would be quite a comfortable surface for walking on, especially on the shallower sections between the steps.
The Via Eurasia also passes over ancient bridges that feature the distinctive semicircular arches of Roman engineering. By and large, the Byzantine Empire continued to use the road network built by its predecessor. However, the Byzantine system expanded to connect its extensive number of rural monasteries to the cities. Changes to the transportation network linked newly powerful Christian churches throughout the region and catered to the growing number of religious pilgrims. While the Ottoman road system followed many of the same paths as the roads that came before it, the Turkic Empire's engineering innovations were many and varied. Ottoman roads and bridges have a distinctive look. The Ottoman roads became more precisely paved than those of the Byzantines, while Ottoman bridges feature pointed angles above the apexes of arches. Additionally, the Ottoman Empire invested in transportation infrastructure. Caravanserais, where trade convoys and travelers could find shelter, were constructed at lengths of 1 day's journey along the road. The practical tradition of having wells and cemeteries along the roads also continued well into the Ottoman era. Additionally, the Ottomans built large fountains for travelers to have access to fresh-flowing water. Places of worship and local Muslim pilgrimage sites, such as turbes, or tombs of prominent religious leaders, begin to appear on the roads, giving travelers a means to express their religious needs while away from their homes. The Via Eurasia is the spine of the Eastern Mediterranean. It traces the evolution of European civilization from small regional kingdoms in the ancient era through to the Middle Ages. It tells the story of how cultures come into contact, change one another through trade and warfare, and integrate into larger, more connected polities. Developing hand in hand with technological innovations, such as the use of camels for overland trade, or the standardization of wheels and axles, roads are a reflection of our ingenuity and interconnected humanity. The history of roads is the history of Europe.